I would like to apologize for not posting shots for the past 4 weeks, I think. So we've had 4 to 5 Mondays where I didn't post any shots. With time, you'll understand why I did not post. But I prepared something for you this week. And as usual, for those people who are new here, my name is Nelly and I'm the Kenyan girl doing stories on sustainable development goals. My story for this week it's a bit of footage that I collected when I was doing a photography project on Kenyans and the railway. In short, the project entailed going to all the railway stations in Kenya and photographing the railway in relation to Kenyans. Like, for example, how did trade improve because of the railway, or did it improve to begin with? What has happened since most Kenyans discovered cars? Because it has rendered most railway lines redundant. Now, how do Kenyans use those redundant railway lines? Some have markets on them. Some are playgrounds on them. I was working with an Italian photographer called Giacomo Francini, who is just a fabulous photographer. And so I remember the first day we had to get permission from RVR, and then we filmed in Nairobi, the Nairobi railway station. Should I move? Sure. If I wasn't busy producing or directing or asking for or looking for permissions, because this has to be one of those projects that I had to constantly say that I had permission to film. It was one of the toughest, also one of the most fascinating. And the purpose of this is eventually to have an exhibition here in Kenya. Our short this week is about my first Nairobi commuter train trip. So I woke up really, really early with Giacomo Francini, as I introduced you. We took a taxi to Ruiru railway station. We got there at about, I think, 5:45 in the AM, because the train was leaving exactly. And actually, this is one of the most efficient things. This is one of the reasons why trains are loved so much. They are very punctual. If they say it's 6:10 in the morning, it's 6:10 in the morning. So we got there at 5:45, met everybody. Thanks Shikuku, who is currently in charge of the Ruiru to Nairobi trip. It was very lovely. It was very handy. He showed us around. He told us what to do. He told us what to expect. Not yet? Okay. What you're told to expect is not the same thing that you get. So we got there, and then 6:05 we were in the train and it started hooting and we started leaving. It's just one of the most fascinating rides that I've taken, because people hardly spoke in trains. You know, in matatus, people try to talk. This is sort of quiet. It's a very disciplined. It has all the ages of people, all sorts of people, all sorts of religions. The school kids, my God, there were so many. Some of them were so young, and I was wondering, how do they manage? And to some degree, it's why a bit quiet. We could still move around from one place to another. But after that, it was so cramped. It was so congested that moving from one place to another was just not possible. I think there were more than 20 people in one cubicle or more. And it's something you have to do at some point in your life to experience. You have to experience that. Then you will understand why people do what they do. Why people have different styles of asking for what they need. Why the train is important. And actually, another beautiful thing about this train is that it goes through places that are usually not accessible. Yeah, let's say it's Githurai. You know, if you live close to the road, you can walk easily to the road, get a matatu, come to town for work. But if you live deep in Githurai, then it means it might take you an hour to 45 minutes to get to the main road. But the train passes by there. It serves a bigger population that lives a bit far off the main road. Secondly, I think it's the cheapest way to travel in Kenya. The least you can pay per trip is 20 shillings, and the maximum you can pay is 50 shillings. And they're not going to hike prices because it's rush hour. When we left Ruiru, personally, I saw around 7 schools whose students took the train. And I found out that it's actually every day. They take that train every day. And for a school to rely on a train, it means it has to be punctual. Because if you want to define sustainable education in Kenya, I mean, transport has to be one of the things. In one way, using the train helps girls and boys alike avoid weird people, if you know what I mean. Because this means that they get to take a train instead of walking in those weird hours. So here I am in a commuter railway train for the very first time. I became very overwhelmed because if you look at how it is, they look like cubicles, yes. And the train has concrete floors. In itself, it's just fascinating. And this train serves more than 5,000 people per day. But if there are more trains that use all these routes, and I took one that was really long and really full, then I think obviously it has to be more than 5,000. Trains are faster. The train is handy because there are some places in Kenya that you have to take at least 2 or 3 matatus to get to your destination. And the train is just one way. You take the train, you sit. You'll get out only when you get there. Why is this topic relevant to Nelly's shorts? It is relevant because it talks about sustainable education. The number of the children that I saw in the train, it was just unbelievable. That is how they get their education. And it meant the train is such a central part of Kenyans that it's just difficult, or it would be wrong not to have it, or it would be wrong not to improve it. A train is now a symbol of development. It's something for the mass. It's not class. And I think when we talk about development, if you create something that really suits the mass, then that, in my opinion, is sustainable. Something that is inclusive. And as soon as we arrange the date of the exhibition here in Kenya, I will let you know. And please show up. You have no idea. It's a totally different world. When you take a train, there is a sense of patriotism that it gives you that you just cannot explain.